2, 1. Well, welcome in to My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital. I am Landon, joined by Austin, and we are coming into this week for Mississippi State and Missouri on Saturday, Austin. But before we even get to the preview, Mississippi State basketball has had, for men and women, have had a very good week. A week certainly that fans have got to be happy about. We'll talk about that. Mississippi State women's soccer advancing, beating Southern University, getting some payback on Southern University for beating Mississippi State men's basketball last season and hurting the seeding. But beat them 7-0. They move on. They're going to face Washington this Friday in Starkville in the second round of the NCAA tournament. But hey, we just want to let you know that this episode is brought to you in part by ARPA's Coffee Bar in Starkville in the Cotton District. ARPA's understands that great food and drinks are best enjoyed in the company of friends and loved ones. Their great atmosphere creates a great backdrop for conversation, laughter, great memories. Whether you're seeking a good spot to catch up over coffee, a great gathering place for special occasions, or just a good hangout spot, their friendly staff is dedicated to bringing you a great experience. They're located in Starkville in the Cotton District. Mention My Dogs Are Barking at checkout. Mention that you heard about them on the show. You'll get 15% off of your order. I know I'm going to hit up ARPA's for some coffee this Saturday before the game starts. Might grab me a bite to eat as well, but I'm going to make sure I mention My Dogs Are Barking. I'll get 15% off of my order. So make sure you do that. Austin, man, how does it feel? We're in the full swing of basketball season now, and thankfully football season's coming to a close, man.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. It feels very refreshing. Checking ESPN and seeing that we're actually getting wins. Two more games for college football. I mean, for college football for Mississippi State. There's still tons of college football left, but I'm back into the season. That cool time when basketball and football are going at the same time, and the basketball team's absolutely ramping up. I can't wait to see what men's and women's are going to do coming forward. I think both are in for a big year, and obviously, I know we're going to talk about the big win against Utah on Sunday.
Yeah, this was kind of like the season for basketball. This seems like the big step forward for Chris Jans entering into his third season, and Coach Purcell entering into his. Are we in season 3 of Purcell?
I believe it's 3 too. Yeah.
I don't know why it's escaping. I think they both came in at the same time. But Mississippi State men's team had a really big challenge on Sunday night. Taking on the Utah Utes in South Haven. So this was a game that is, technically speaking, this is a neutral site game, even though it's in South Haven, Mississippi, because this game is really brilliantly played by Chris Jans. Their net goes up with a victory over Utah because it's a neutral site game, but it's in Mississippi. So you do get some fans there to cheer on your team. And Utah gave Mississippi State all they wanted, or all more than what they wanted. They were leading by 11 points at halftime. And then Mississippi State came back. If you're watching on YouTube, you see we got the stats that are pulled up here. In the game, as we mentioned, Utah led by 11 at the half, and then Mississippi State had a really good second half. But the shooting in this game was off outside of Josh Hubbard. Am I right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Josh Hubbard's just going to do. He's just going to do what he does. Just looking at this stat line, 23 points from him. A lot of these guys have got to step up. We went to. We were playing 11, 12 guys. We're starting to bring down that number a little bit. So now I think we only played 9 guys yesterday, which I thought was good. But yeah, we've got to have these guys stepping up if they want to win these big games, especially in SEC play. We'll see how good Utah is. They haven't played a great team other than this game yesterday. So we'll see how they look like going to the next part of the season. But yeah, we got to step up. There's no excuse for Kanye Clary getting 0 points, Claudio Harris playing terrible. Well, we got to get guys that can score the ball.
You remember last week, though, we were talking about this team through the first 3 games versus lesser competition. Rebounding was the biggest question because they were struggling at rebounding the ball. But it seems like they answered in a big way. What was it? Michael Nwoko had, I think it's 11. Yeah, 11 rebounds. Now, he's not going to score, but getting 11 rebounds is huge. And Keyshawn Murphy played incredible. Double for Keyshawn Murphy. Did not see that coming.
No, yeah, he played the best game of his career so far. And Last year, a lot of people were talking about him as a big. I did not like that, and then this year, obviously, we don't have a whole lot of bigs, and so they were talking about that, and I was not in love with that. But he proved me wrong yesterday, grabbing all those rebounds and then being able to score points. I mean, losing Tolu, losing Jimmy Bell Jr., those two great rebounders. I mean, we're gonna have to get guys to step up, and those two guys getting in double digit rebounds. I mean, that's got to happen, and that's got to happen. We need guys like that, especially with the SEC big guys. And I was really nervous. I was really nervous about rebounding for the rest of the year, but they proved me wrong. And if Keyshawn Murphy can play like that, we're not going to lose many games.
Yeah, yeah. If hopefully if Keyshawn Murphy progresses and he continues just to get better and better and better, that kind of game is huge because I mean, scoring 18 is good. He was 8 of 10 from the free throw line, which is very big. Um, that's what you needed. Also in this game, something I noticed, Cam Matthews. I mean, everyone knows he's vitally important to this team, and he gets in foul trouble sometimes. That's really his biggest thing. But Cam Matthews, whenever Mississippi State was having trouble scoring, they were kind of in some and from three, they were abysmal from the 3-point line. I think they finished with 24% from three, as 6 of 25. Outside of Hubbard, Hubbard made 5 of the 6 total threes. But what happened was Cam Matthews, because of his incredible athleticism, he was able to use that, use his frame just to drive down and draw fouls. He's 8 of 10 from the line. And I wouldn't expect him to go 8 of 10 from the line every game. That's remarkable. One thing I did want to talk about with this team with Josh Hubbard. Josh Hubbard is having he's having an unreal year so far. Obviously, he's a much better start this year from last season. He wasn't like the main starter. He was coming off the bench from the first couple games last season. But listen to this statistic. I was kind of looking at some leaderboards throughout the SEC and then throughout the nation. Josh Hubbard through 4 games is 18 of 30 from 3-point range. 18 of 30, which is 60% from the 3-point line through 4 games. Really, really impressive from Josh Hubbard. And we know who he is and how impressive he has been. But it can't be understated, man. Hubbard is remarkable, and this is the reason I think. Sorry, I'm going along, Austin, but this is the reason I think Chris Jan's brought in so many different players. Claudell Harris had a bad night on Sunday night. 2 of 10 shooting, 1 for 7. What is it? Kanye Clary had 0 points. He was 0 for 3. RJ Melendez had a not a phenomenal night. He didn't shoot the ball a ton, offensively speaking. Not defensively, he carries a large part of that load. Kugel had 12 points and was solid outside of shooting the 3. There's so many different guys to give options on nights when Hubbard's not going. Hubbard was dynamite in this game, but then you also got help from Keyshawn. You also got help from Cam. State has a lot of different options, and it's not something that we've seen a lot going over the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, no, I entirely agree. I think the past 2 years we have not had I don't want to say we're not stacked, but we just have a lot more depth in every single position this year for sure. Where we if somebody comes out, I mean, there's going to be a guy to replace him that's almost or just as good, other than Josh Hubbard. I mean, a lot of these guys are not. I mean, they're not all-star players. They're not all SEC players, but they're legit SEC players that can contend and compete in this conference, and we're seeing that. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I think Josh Hubbard, I mean, he's going to do his thing, but even if there's a night that he scores 12 or 13 points, we still have a chance of winning. But I mean, I don't know who's going to step up. Kanye Clary, I mean, he might not have another game where he scores 0 points. I just don't see that. Claudio Harris, he's probably not going to have another game where he shoots 1 for 7. From the 3-point line. We're going to have to get these guys to step up, but I think they will step up. Not everybody's going to be hot every single night. That's just basketball. Anybody can beat anybody on a given night. We see that in March Madness literally every single year. And yeah, no, I entirely agree with that statement. And I think that I think we're, like I said, we're not stacked, but we just have so much more depth. And it's very refreshing knowing that if Claudio Harris is coming out, we're not replacing them with a bona fide scrub. We got Riley Kugel in there, Kanye Clary. We got a lot of guys that can compete in this conference.
Yeah, it's like Claudell Harris. Right, I think Kugel's a really good. We're waiting for Kugel to get it. Right now, though, Kugel probably is a better player than Kanye Clary and Claudell. But at least Kanye and Claudel seem to be fairly similar players in terms of what they can bring to the table in terms of scoring. Um, and that's something you have to be excited about. There was just such a drop off the past couple of seasons. And after Hubbard, Tolu just didn't look like himself for whatever reason. And then Deshaun Davis, and then there was nothing. I mean, if Hubbard couldn't get going, it was over with. I did want to also mention Mississippi State women's hoops. They are playing well. They beat Chattanooga 69-44 in that game. Looked really good. Anaya Russell had 19 points. Jakayla Jordan shot 50%, had 12 points in the game. Mississippi State women is under Sam Purcell is also doing real, and especially also in recruiting, they're rolling. And on Wednesday, so tomorrow at 6:30 they will be taking on Mercer. Mississippi State women, they have Mercer, and then they have Jacksonville. Then they're going to the Cayman Islands, and it looks like they're going to be taking on Utah as well on is that on Thanksgiving, November 28th? Yeah, that is Thanksgiving, right?
I was thinking it was on
I
the
think
30. Let me see real quick.
it's usually on a Thursday. I'm always just so used to the Egg Bowl just being right there. But
Yeah,
either
sure.
way,
Yeah,
Mississippi
it's the
State
28th,
women
you're right.
is okay. They have a great opportunity with getting wins over Utah, South Florida, and then the ACC SEC Challenge with Georgia Tech on December 4th. There's a lot of opportunities for Mississippi State women to get some wins. And obviously, as we mentioned, Mississippi State women's soccer is rolling as well. The Bulldogs have a lot of things going well, that on the positive part for everything outside of football, it seems. But football's the thing that generates so many eyes watching it. We will get to the Missouri football preview in just a few moments. But I do want to take a quick break and let you know, or ask you this question: what does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. Skip Langley is your Batesville, Mississippi, Edward Jones advisor, serving clients in the area and across the state. Count on him for financial strategies that can help support a life you love. Because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. So contact him today at 662-563-9843. And together, you can find your rich Edward Jones, member SIPC. Austin, Mississippi State is taking on the Missouri Tigers this Saturday, and Missouri is coming off of a loss versus South Carolina, in which their defense, Missouri's defense, that is, looked rough. They had a tough night. Lenora Sellers played incredible. He was 21 of 30, 353 yards, 5 touchdowns, just 1 interception. They also had over 100 yards on the ground. They looked really good. Missouri did have Brady Cook play. They weren't 100% sure what Brady Cook's status was going to be. He did end up playing just not super well. 237, a touchdown and an interception. And South Carolina held on late. That's such a tough place to play. Nate Knoll did have 150 yards for Missouri. Missouri, Austin, are they now? Hint, hint, wink, wink. Are they now officially eliminated from the college football playoff?
Yeah, I think they are for sure. I think I think poor Missouri fans, they had incredibly high hopes for the season, and I know they're feeling bad, and they're probably going to end up 9-3, maybe 8-4, but probably 9-3. But yeah, it's a bad season. Well, not a bad season. It's a great season for Missouri, but when it comes to their hopes, their expectations, not where they wanted to be for sure. So yeah, I don't give us any hope. I feel so bad. I really did. What was it?
No, man. Come on, listen. We'll talk about the Bulldogs' chances in a second, which I think are good. You just got to give them some time. But Missouri, before the beginning of the season, so before we joined MPW Digital, we were a part of something called the College Huddle. So we had people from all different colleges that basically had a podcast represented for that university, right? So we interviewed the guy who had a podcast for Missouri, the Woods and Water podcast or something of that nature.
Yeah,
the guy's name is Skeeter. He's super awesome guy. And we were in the beginning, and we were going over the schedule, and he mentioned that Missouri. Did he say 11-1 or 12-0, Austin? I can't remember.
He said 12-0.
Okay, yes, he said 12-0. And honestly, coming off of what we thought about Missouri, I didn't think 12-0 was going to happen. I think we said 10-2, something of that nature, which is a really good. I mean, that gets you in the playoff, right? 10-2, and that would have been great. But Missouri, in the end, I think Missouri's defense had a much bigger slip losing Blake Baker to LSU than they thought, and they've really struggled. And now they come into Starkville, and look, Austin, Mississippi State, they got a bye week, but this Mississippi State fans have been saying, well, the optimistic ones, if they exist still, have said that if the Mississippi State is going to get one before Texas A&M, before Arkansas, they said they're going to nab at least one team. Is it going to be Missouri this week, Austin, with Mississippi State getting an extra week? This is the final home game of the season. Missouri at this point, you got to wonder, are any of them cashing in their chips for the NFL draft? Think about Luther Burden, or the transfer portal as well. I don't know. What is your kind of your thoughts on this game as a whole? Missouri is favored by 8 points.
Yeah, against Tennessee, our offense played not very good at all. Our defense played. No, I mean they were better than what they usually are, but still not very good.
State ran the ball fairly well, though. State ran the ball fairly well.
Yeah, but we just, I mean, nah, I don't think we played well at all offensively. I mean, the defense just, I mean, Tennessee's defense was just so good. And I had a lot of hope that, because I said the same thing. I said we were going to nab one SEC game. I think we just deserve it. I think the SEC, they got to give us one game. And I was very confident that I was going to be Arkansas, and then they whipped us by 33 points. So I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing it. I want to be right. I like being right, and that's why I'm picking Missouri. It's Hell State. It's Hell State all the way. It really is. But I can't pick them this. Can't pick them this week. I can't do it. I'm gonna say 38. I'm gonna say 38-24, Missouri.
Okay, well, let me say this before we get into specific picks. Austin's all the way in. He's like, dude, Mississippi State is not going to win this game. As I mentioned, South Carolina really, they ran for over 100 yards. However, only 53 of those yards were by a running back. 45 of the yards were by Lenora Sellers had 45 yards total rushing. Michael Van Buren's not going to be one that kind of tucks it and runs it often. Now he can escape the pressure and pick up 3 or 4 to avoid a sack, which I think is a real benefit. But he's not going to be someone who pulls it down. So I'm wondering what Missouri is going to look like, because Mississippi State, if they're smart, they are going to run. They are going to run Davon Booth all day long. They're going to get several guys involved, I would imagine. But at the same time, because that's what has worked for them against Tennessee, they ran the ball very well. They really did. But Lenore Sellers, if he can throw for 350 yards, do you not think Michael Van Buren can throw for 250 and then run for over 150 as well? That's the best case scenario to me.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, that would be best case scenario, but our South Carolina has a much better offensive line than us. But I could definitely see MVB throwing for 250. I don't know. And plus, I mean, we're talking about offensively. Our defense isn't going to stop them either. I mean, even if we get in a shootout, our defense is not stopping them. So, I do think, like I said, I'm giving them 24 points, which is, one of the most highest we've scored against FBS teams this season. So, yeah.
And just for the record, this is a Mississippi State podcast. We talk about other SEC. We talk about SEC sports in general. Thursday, we talk about all the different matchups. That's always a fun episode. Wednesdays, we usually try to interview someone about the SEC. But as a Mississippi State podcast, just to be clear, Austin and I have I have only picked one game in the SEC for Mississippi State to actually win, as far as being picked. So we don't sit here and predict Mississippi State to win every game. In fact, I only picked them to beat Arkansas. And boy, was I wrong on that. So I do want to point that out to be clear for those who are not so sure. So wait a minute, Austin, you're saying you don't think the Coleman Hutzler, you don't think the defense is going to be able to hold Luther Burden down? You don't think some of the guys over the top are going to be able to stop Luther Burden coming down the way? Or maybe I should phrase it like this: do you not think that are you not a part of the committee that thinks Hutzler should be back next year, that he's generated some momentum? Because there are people out there that think that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of momentum for me. Xavion Hardy's probably, knock on wood, but if he's he's probably going to decommit. Austin Howard, decommitted a couple weeks ago, and now he's going to Vanderbilt. So the recruiting class defensively is not looking good whatsoever. And I don't see it getting any better if we have Coleman Hutzler. Just seeing that product on the field, seeing that scheme on the field, good players do not want to play there.
Well, yeah, and it's like it's the whole like, can you see yourself playing in this offense? Like for Mississippi State's receiving court, like the people they're recruiting there and then the portal, they're going to be able to see, hey, Kevin Coleman was able to come in here, and with a bad team, he was able to make a real difference. The tight ends, and the running backs, you're going to be able to see offensively some people that go, okay, I can see what the product looks like. This is what I can do. Defensively, I mean, you literally are painting from a new canvas. Hey, don't look at what we've done, but maybe take a look at what you could do. Maybe you could change it, and obviously, NIL changes a big part of that, and can add some different pieces of that. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to give a particular argument about Coleman Hutzler, and why, if he does stay, what should happen. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, Austin. I think if Coleman Hutzler is to stay, and again, there are people that believe he should, although they're a little nuts, I'd say if he is going to stay, you cannot keep him in the exact same role. I think if you do that, keep him as the co-defensive coordinator. With people forget about that. There's another defensive coordinator on this team in Matt Barnes. Make Matt Barnes the play caller. Keep Coleman so that he's there, so it keeps the relationships. Because in my thought, the defense is so bad, you have got to get some people. If you lose the people that are almost, that are coming in, you're going to be in a lot of even worse trouble than we already are, which seems almost impossible. But I think if you're going to keep Hutzler, and they really might just keep continuity, make Matt Barnes the defensive coordinator that calls the plays, keep Hutzler around, to talk to the guys, to tell him not to give any sort of instruction whatsoever, but keep him there just to have a good relationship with everybody. Do not tell him anything. Don't tell him, hey, listen, we're gonna line up at a 3. You're gonna be standing on the edge, and don't tell him not to say anything, but just be there to encourage the guys, and keep Barnes. Because I don't know, man. I get this feeling. Can you not? Or let me ask you this: can you see this happening? Mississippi State fires Coleman Hutzler. Probably fires.
I think they will. I think it's bigger than even defensively. I think it's just from a fan standpoint. Go on Twitter, read the message boards. 2% of Mississippi State fans want him to stay. Everybody's all hashtag Hutzler out. I don't know if you've seen that. People tweeting that all the time. Or like everything they tweet at the bottom of the tweet. Like it could be something unrelated and they'll put hashtag Hutzler out. I think it's hilarious. But I think that if you're going to keep this same defensive staff together after let's say we go 2-10 this year. If we go 2-10, keep the exact same defensive staff together, the hype for next season will be at an all-time low.
It will be bad. It'll be bad. It'll be a bad look for Lebby for sure.
Yeah, I mean the strength of schedule is barely getting easier. We're still playing pretty much the exact same teams. I don't see how you're going to get a bunch of people getting in that stadium next year if you're bringing in the exact same defensive staff after words can't describe how bad this defense is this year. I don't see from a fan standpoint how the average fan, like the average not diehard fan, is going to be excited about this team going into next year if we keep all the staff together.
Yeah, and I don't know. I would love to get a coach on here. We might see if we can get Siski on here next week. But like, how does it work when you're going to fire someone? So let's say they get rid of Hutzler. Do they go ahead and communicate to Xavier Hardy and to Tony Mitchell and say, hey, look, just letting you know, it's just not working out. We're letting him go, but we want to keep you. Like, what does that look like when your main recruiter is gone? Do they let them know a little ahead of time? Do you tell them as soon as you make the decision? Because what you don't want is they didn't know it was happening. They get the notes app on their iPhone and they, say, hey, it is with great, decision and prayer. I don't know. I'm interested to know how that actual process works. But I think in this game, to kind of finish up here, Mississippi State has a chance to win. But I'm with you. Like, I just don't know how much has actually changed. They did get a week off. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I would not be surprised at all if this is somewhat of a close game. Missouri by 8 points is a little interesting. I might say Mississippi State loses by 10 or so. That seems to be a pretty common thread. But State has a shot to win this game just because of where Missouri is. And then next week you got the Egg Bowl, and we will have a lot of great content next week because there's so many different things to discuss, so many different storylines. I'm very excited about that. In the end, I'm with you. I think Missouri will end up winning this game. I'm gonna say 27-37 Missouri. But who knows? One more loss like that, and that might be the end of Hustlers. If you go 2-10, and your defense again is just absolutely embarrassed, then it doesn't leave you a lot of choices on what to do. And obviously at the end of the day, Lebby is friends with Hutzler, but he's going to make the decision that's best. People have to fire their friends all the time in this particular profession just because they want to save what's going to happen going forward. So look at what's happening right now. But that is it, Austin. Any final closing thoughts before we get out of here? And we will be back on Wednesday.
Yeah, man, like you were saying, just being like homers, like, yeah, like I also just only picked Arkansas, and I'm not, like I said, I'm acting, I'm not hopeful that we're going to win this game, but I mean, I will be I'm not going to be like, man, there's just no hope for us. I mean, I'm going to be heavily invested into this game on Saturday. And I only picked us to lose by 14. It's not like I'm thinking, but we're about to lose by 30 points. I think that we have, I mean, I don't know if I would say a shot, but I think we could definitely keep it close. And I will be cheering for us to obviously pull off the, I mean, it is an upset. I don't care what anybody says, to pull off the upset for sure. But yeah, make sure you are subscribing to MPW Digital. We got a lot of good content on the way, and we're very excited about things.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a win that would be. If Mississippi State was able to pull off the victory, I mean, you change so many things about your season. You could say, hey, we beat a team that was, competing in their league. They had a lot of great NFL players, and just having a SEC win going into next season is huge. So it would be so much for Lebby, as opposed to 2-10 finishing out the year, getting embarrassed by Ole Miss, getting embarrassed by Missouri. It would make a whole change. But running the ball, Mississippi State is, and especially their offensive line, has gotten better. There's several holes that opened up wide, and the Bulldogs have looked good when it comes to running the ball. So let us know your thoughts for Mississippi State and Missouri. Want to know what you think is going to happen. Give us a score prediction. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. It's just at MyDawgsPod. Also, make sure you're following us on Substack. Subscribe to us. It's free for Mississippi State stories. It's just MyDawgsPod at .substack, and you can take a look at us there. But yeah, we will be back on Wednesday for our Wednesday show, and then we will have our Thursday matchup show. Very excited. As Austin said, make sure you're subscribed to MPW Digital to keep up with all the latest and greatest MyDawgsPod shows. So we sure do appreciate you guys for listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I hope you enjoy this upcoming season of holidays with family. It's going to be a special time of year. Thanks so much for listening.